Hello everybody, you're at GameTrailers.com, so it makes sense that you would watch some trailers, but we're going to take that one step further, and we're going to show you some of the best trailers that came out this week. My name is Brandon Jones. If you got a little bit of time, we've pushed it to like 40 minutes now. Let's all go to the trailers. I'm joined by Mr. Kyle Bossman.
Hi everybody.
And Mr. Daniel Bloodworth.
Yeah, we got some good ones this week.
They're the two chaps that like to sit down and watch some trailers. Yeah, some good trailers. Like the three I'm going to show to you, I feel are good trailers. I don't have any interesting things to say about them. There's no critiques or just errors that I find or that sometimes happen in trailer production that these are good examples of. Awesome trailers. Thank you for pointing that out, Blood. And one thing I want to mention before we get into it, we're only going to cover 3 trailers. I thought we'd have time for 4 because we don't have the little wrap-up in part 1. We have to keep these, for technical purposes, we have to keep these episodes around 20 minutes. And I figured it makes sense because there's 3 of us. So there's 3 trailers, 3 of us, 3 opportunities to pick trailer of the week. You guys, as always, can suggest trailers that you want to bring to the show. Might be fun to have an episode where you suggest one, Blood, and you suggest one, Kyle. But watching trailers takes time. Serious business. So let's get into it. Not to talk about Final Fantasy IV a second week, but this is a different game technically, even though it is also being directed by the same person who's doing 15.
Yes.
Who you have some experience with. You've interviewed him.
Yeah, which was cool. It was cool to interview. It was my first translated interview, which is great. And weird to start the trailer here. This is what I remember most from when it was a PSP game. Someone said, that's the game with the bloody chocobo. And there it is. They start off with their bloody chocobo.
Well, I think that speaks to like just such a different tone to this. Yeah,
such a tone immediately.
This whole game is very much more realistic in the sense that like I don't like it's I mean Phoenix Down's got to be in there, right? But it doesn't feel like a game that you're going to be using Phoenix Down in.
This trailer I feel is geared more towards American audiences than almost any Final Fantasy trailer I've ever seen. It's in English, there are no subtitles. It specifically goes through every single beat of the story to let you know like who, beyond, it doesn't actually get into like character names and stuff like that, but I feel like really sets the scene. Goes into each faction, talks about their emblem and like, what represents them and shows off this like X-Men of Final Fantasy characters, all these guys, this team, all these students. And really sold me. I was really excited watching this trailer. And usually when I see stuff come out of Japan, I'm kind of piecing together what information I can, obviously taking in the style and, trying to see like what's a cutscene versus what's gameplay. Where in this, I was actually legitimately caught up in the story.
That's cool. I think it's a good point. Yeah, it's like trying to include you. Do you know what I mean? It's not presenting all these things in a way that's just like, you should know who these people are. It is trying to like explain story in the situation and trying to like let everyone in on what Type 0 is. I can see that. I can see that perspective.
The one thing though that I do have a little bit of issue with is just the voiceover there in this. Like something about the delivery. Like he's talking about these serious things, but I feel as if he's talking about it in a way that he's almost like in the back of his mind he's kind of making fun of it. It's like,
But again, that's why I usually get uncomfortable about Japanese trailers, because I can't tell. Like, am I supposed to take this seriously? Does this game take this seriously? This seems very superficial to me. Maybe that's me being insensitive. Maybe that's exactly what they're trying to portray. But I definitely connected with this trailer as far as the story they were trying to tell. There's English titles, really awesome English titles, not just text like thrown in. They said at the beginning, you've seen these soldiers fall, and then you see this arena, you see some people getting smacked around, and then this like elite team comes in and starts kicking ass, and so like, even though this is slightly presentational, what on earth are all of these people doing in a circle in the middle of the battlefield?
Sure.
Like, it's like, you're just opening yourselves up for an AoE, guys, disperse. But at the same time, I'm curious to know more about them, and I'm curious to know more about the story, and curious to play the game. I think the game is definitely, the gameplay is definitely slipped in there, kind of, covertly, just like, oh, and then there's gameplay, and then back to the awesome cutscenes, but it doesn't look ridiculous to me, I think.
Well, I think it actually looks really good. And this is the one time that like a pre-order now has got me excited, because holy crap, like you're going to show me this great game, and now you've got a demo for 15 in here?
Is this plus 5 points for this pre-order now, Kyle?
I'm afraid not. we should be looking at the game we're supposed to, I mean, that stuff's great, but yeah, I don't know. It kind of detracts a little from Final Fantasy Type 0 HD to see 15 at the end.
But that used to be the thing back in the day. Like, anytime like Square would have something come out, it was like, okay, I'm kind of interested in this game. thing about getting it, and then like just seal the deal. It's like you've got a demo for that in there.
Yeah, I would probably pay a lot of money just to play that demo. You're right. The demo alone is worth money. So.
But I actually forgot that when they brought up the pre-order. Now I was reminded that this was going to be attached to it, and hats off to this trailer for getting me kind of swept up in the story. I definitely.
I've wanted to play this game for a long time. Like this is one of the Final Fantasies that like there've been a lot of Final Fantasies in the past few years, and it's like this looks gross or whatever. But this one from the beginning I've always been interested in. So I'm glad that it's finally making it out here, and I think even though you can still see that it had its roots as being a PSP game, it looks pretty good what they've done with the HD and the few in-game stuff that we do see.
I think it's an 8. I think it is a fantastic sell for American audiences to let us understand this game, let us feel potentially for these characters. Obviously, the pre-order, it's the whole package. I really dug it. I thought they did a great job.
Yeah, watching this intro again is really incredible. I'll give it 8.6 minus 0.5, 8.1. I think that like Blood's right. The narrator's really bad. I think the voice acting is really good when you do hear the characters in the game speak. And it is really cool. I love what they do. They show you Bahamut getting gunned down. And that's pretty incredible. I remember Tabata was talking about how he wanted to make, like, if you shoot fire at a person, he wants it to be fired. You know what I mean? He doesn't want, like, a little RPG character to be like, oh, you threw fire at me? I'm okay. Like, they show soldiers getting hit by fire and that impacting them. And it's all here in this trailer. You see weight to this world, and I think that's pretty cool. Those missions are accomplished as far as the trailer goes.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. I'm glad because, a lot of times what happens for me is, something like this will get announced in Japan, and it will take forever, like forever for it to come out in the U.S. And I lose that excitement. I lose whatever, when I, like, a good example is like Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright. Like, that was like blowing my mind when that trailer first came out. And by the time it came out in the States, it's like, I don't even know if I care. And this is like, it's renewing that excitement. So I really do like it. And I think I'll land at 8.7.
Many are the grim tales told of the Shadow Isles and the black mist that shrouds them.
I showed you guys a League of Legends trailer earlier this year that I did not like. I now show you a League of Legends trailer that I love. Oh, really? Man, I love. Oh,
this one is weird to me. Like, I think the problem with this is it's throwing my brain off as to like examine this trailer as itself, because I look at this and I basically see, okay, they stole Puppeteer from Sony, and they stole this story arc from The Witcher. I'm like, what? This is like the Puppeteers are telling me the Witcher story right now, and that's throwing my whole everything off about how like well made this trailer is.
Oh my gosh, I love this trailer. Like, you see the sun getting enveloped by the black fog. Oh my gosh, it's just like everything there was like a little, like semi-practical, and that's what I really love about this effect they're doing with these puppets. Is like it almost looks like something that could have been designed by a puppeteer. Clearly not. Clearly we go to other places with it. But the look of this, look at the look of it. The way we see the focus, they look miniature, Oh, man.
When you see stuff up close, it really, like when the ghosts come by and pick her up, you can kind of see the fabric, and it looks, it doesn't look like awesome CG, it looks like fabric, yeah, I don't really know where to begin. It's just so up my alley. Like puppets, ghosts. It's, it is Sunday today, but we are recording this on Halloween on Friday. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, I'm so happy that I waited to watch this trailer until today. And it actually tells this tragic story. I don't know if these characters are affiliated with the game at all. We're supposed to know who these puppets are.
I think that's the most confusing thing to me, is like, what does this have to do with League of Legends?
I did go to the website because I was curious. Congratulations, trailer. You made me go to leagueoflegends.com to be like, what's going on with this? And this is just kind of pervading different aspects of the game. You get new items, new characters get different skins that are based on the harrowing.
So a little bit like Cataclysm?
Yeah, but I mean, Cataclysm was a massive,
Yeah.
you know, expansion. Whereas this is just like, hey, it's Halloween. We're not gonna. I don't believe any new characters are coming to League of Legends, but there is a bunch of new loot and stuff, and you get this little added touch with him coming
With
back,
no strings.
which you know it's gonna happen, but at the same time, it's still scary and kind
Yeah.
of funny at the same time.
Yeah.
There's just a lot going on in this trailer, and one of the things that I think this trailer does that the other trailer didn't, where we're just seeing all these characters run around and fight each other, is what's the story here? Who am I supposed to be rooting for? What are you selling me? Are you selling me League of Legends, or is there something new? I don't know what the new thing is. Clearly, the new thing here is the harrowing. Like, I don't know if this puppeteer is a person you can control in the game or someone else you've seen in trailers before. It does not really matter to me as a consumer. This is a very well-timed expansion to give to the game, and such an awesome thing to spend lots of money on. Yes.
Yeah, because I remember that trailer you're talking about, the other League of Legends one, and just my main issue with it was just context-less. It was just a bunch of people fighting each other looking cool. It looked like, here's all of your favorite characters looking cool. Here's none of your favorite characters. They're not here in this trailer. Maybe the guy who pops out, who's got a sword, I'm not sure if he's a character or not. But it sets a tone. It sets a vibe, and you know the harrowing is a serious deal because of how well this story is told. Oh man, I do. It feels, you know how we say like expansions have to feel like a big deal? The harrowing feels like a big deal because of this trailer.
But it's also like not a big deal. You know, I also get the vibe that this isn't like this isn't gonna break or change League of Legends forever. You know, like
sure,
this is
yeah.
just a fun thing that's coming to League of Legends, and you know, what a fantastic way to introduce it to me and to, you know, a bunch of other consumers. I had never heard of the harrowing associated with League of Legends until I saw this video, and because of that, it impacted me so much. And I feel it's lighthearted, but it's spooky. It's just a mix of so many awesome things.
Yeah, and well, I think too the one thing that this does definitely do better than the last one is the narration. Like the narrator really gets you into this like so well. Whereas the other one was like, I wasn't sure, like, is the narrator buying this or not? And this one is like, no, the narrator is keeping me hooked into this whole story right now.
And they're all disappointed at
the
this
audience
point.
doesn't like it.
There's
They're
a
all
baby
booing it.
crying. Oh, it's so good.
Again, it's just all these mixed. It's kind of comedic, but it's kind of dramatic at the same time. There's just a pleasant mix of lots of different themes. 9.5. I love this trailer.
Wow.
I love it. It's awesome. It's well written. It's the perfect length. This is how you make a good trailer. This is how you announce something. Not because I'm like super excited about the harrowing specifically, but just and it's got puppets. So that's I'd probably give it a 9 if it didn't have puppets. But man,
I'm also really crazy about this trailer. I'm giving it a 9.7, and I
Wow.
think when we look at the best trailers of the year, I want to bring this one up. It's so hard to create something distinct, you know, today. And I think there's really something distinct about this trailer.
But
which is-
distinct in the way that it looks like Puppeteer.
it doesn't look like the Puppeteer.
Yes, it does. It looks so much like the Puppeteer.
The Puppeteer wishes it was this good looking.
Oh, well, I mean, it does, but this is CG, and that's a PS3 game.
I'm not revoking my 9.7, blood. That's written in stone right now. Yeah, at the end, just League of Legends. Do you know what I mean? It's not like League of Legends the harrowing. Go to LeagueOfLegends.com now. It's just League of Legends. This is what our game is. This is how we present ourselves, and you present yourself really well with a trailer like this.
Yeah, I'm still a little weirded out with some of the stuff. So I'll slightly lower end. I think I'll go with that 8.5. I think that it's really well made. But it is that weirdly derivative thing going on for me. And that may be just entirely subjective on my own part, but yeah.
I love that stuff, actually. I like it when one of you guys brings up something random, you know, I was talking about anime earlier and you corrected me, Kyle, thank you. You know, but I mean, noticing different influences and stuff like that people might not have mentioned. And I think it's worth saying that even though it does, you know, carry similarities to the Puppeteer, you know, putting the strings and all that stuff together and making stuff look like it's puppeted, like that's not easy. That's not just something you can push the Puppeteer button and it just happens.
Well, that's the thing too, is it's not like everybody's doing it, so it's like you have that one very clear example of where that, you know, could be related to.
So thou hath redeemed thyself, League of Legends. Keep it up.
You are one of our most treasured instruments.
And finally, one of those, hey, did you see that awesome trailer of the week? everybody was talking about these amazing cutscenes, which we knew were coming. We knew Blur was working on them. We knew there was just going to be a boatload of them. We already know this story. We know how it ends. We know all the things that happen to all of these characters. And yet, it's just fascinating to see it all come together with new voice work. I don't know, actually. Did they get these people together? Or are these like the same voice samples from way back in the day that they just dug up? It feels different. The gravity of it feels different. I think that they
would probably have re-recorded. Most likely, because the voice samples would have had to been so compressed on the original Xbox. That would be very hard for me to believe, unless they had that.
They probably didn't lose their originals. I'm sure they have the original recordings.
I don't know. I guess it could go either way.
So it's interesting we bring this up first because I mean normally I like
people
to start,
are googling this right now and they know the answer.
I like to know. I like to talk about the good stuff first, but I do feel like the Halo voice actors are a little outclassed by the visuals we're seeing now. I think that like
the writing is certainly outclassed.
Yeah, Master Chief saying, "Are you sure?" like really doesn't play well with how great all of this looks. I'd want to listen to this with subtitles, basically.
Cortana's facial expressions, my goodness.
But yeah, everything. Blur knocked this out of the park. When they said they're doing all the cutscenes, I'm like, man, they're probably gonna not be that great. And here they are. They're all as good as any Blur trailer. Look at this. Just look at it.
This trailer almost made me care about the story in this game. But I mean, there's still. I mean, it's the game that defined a generation. I don't know about that, but
I hate when they kind of overhype themselves. They're like, you have enough hype going for yourself.
Revolutionize online multiplayer. I will give them that.
Might give them that, yeah.
But again, kind of weird to bring up multiplayer in a cinematic trailer because I'm not seeing anything.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's not like at that point then they showed the gameplay and showed all this stuff. But weird thing that's happening here with Halo 2. I mean, to kind of step out of the trailer a little bit, using the assets that they had to sell this story. I mean, we know this story. We've had how many ever Halo games after that. It's kind of weird. It's like, this makes Halo 3 look worse. It's weird to like spend the Halo 1's not going to get this treatment ever. Maybe another 10, 20 years. Right. So just very interesting to specifically just put, laser clarity on like this one specific event in a 4, 5, 6, 7 game franchise that we're so familiar with.
And I think that's a good point in that it's going to be weird to actually go through and play through the series. And like, they're all in this same collection. When you buy the collection, you buy all 4 of these games. And you get this in the second one, but not in the first one, not in the third one. It's kind of weird.
I mean, my assumption would be that they started this a long time ago, just thinking they were just gonna do Halo 2, and then a lot of just like, why not add this? Why not add this? And that's why we have the Master Chief Collection today. So I mean, that's not to the fault of these poor people working on Halo 2. It's like.
What about the poor people working on the trailer? Do we like the trailer itself?
I
think it does a good. Well.
Yeah, I think it actually does do a good job of kind of sort of telling its own part of the story and kind of pulling you along and getting you interested in that for sure.
Absolutely. Starts with the Arbiter saying, you did all of this wrong, we're kicking you out. And that's a great way to start the trailer. And then from then on, we don't focus on any like one story situation for too long. Then we kind of just see action and just everything looks so good.
How much does this put that Nightfall trailer to shame?
Yeah.
No, oh my god, good point.
Yeah.
And I think this is a great coming out party for these cinematics. It's not something where like, here's a new 10 seconds from a cinematic, and then another one, and then another one. We got a little bit of a taste a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and bam, we get this awesome trailer, tons of different scenes. The scene that ends it where he's running and jumping off into the lake. I remember literally saying like, what? When I actually played Halo 2 when it first came out, like, what just happened? Where was I? I don't even remember what level I'm on. Like, it was just so, I felt such a distance between myself and the story where this got me pumped for a game I've already played. 8.3. Dig it.
I would, yeah. I think it's a similar thing. Like, everything's wowing us. I'll give it an 8. Because, yeah, it's just not, like, focused. It's like, these cutscenes in the game are going to be terrific, voiceover or not. But the trailer itself is just showing us those cutscenes. And, you know what? It deserves a better score. 8.6. I'm bumping it up. Also, notice no pre-order now. You can absolutely go pre-order this. If you were impressed, go ahead, pre-order it. Doesn't feel like telling you to.
A cinematic trailer for the cinemas and a cinematic game.
Yeah. But that's it. It's a cinematic trailer, though it's also just like this revolutionary game is 10-year anniversary, and so it doesn't all match the language with what we're seeing. But just telling a story with cutscenes is tricky enough. It gets an 8.6.
Yeah, man, I'm having a hard time, especially like with all three of these, like considering them. And it's also tough because it's like, yeah, this is stuff that like it's not being done just for the trailer. It's intercutting and everything. I'm gonna go a little higher. I think I'm gonna go with the 8.8 on this.
You're a little wishy-washy this week, Blood.
I am. I'm really wishy-washy. I mean, I think it's harder for me when they're actually good.
One thing I just want to point out that actually might stay in here because in the old doing the show the old way and putting 4 trailers and having to cram it down to 20 minutes. One thing I usually cut out is a lot of the uncertainty.
Sure,
like
absolutely.
There's fans of Let's All Go to the Trailers. You've missed lots of moments of Kyle and Blood and myself going, so that's all back in there. The pause Blood just did.
But
the struggle.
Yeah. What I think's interesting too, though, is I mean, I feel like we've all known the Blur name because of what we do, but like this is like a first time I've seen a logo.
Sure. Absolutely.
Like this is kind of making Blur a household name.
Like a media partner for this game. Yeah. All right, kids. Hope you guys had a happy Halloween. We're going to take a little break. We'll be back in part 2 titled Let's Watch, where we're going to watch a game called Kill All Zombies, the launch trailer, which I thought was fairly appropriate, given that it's Halloween today. It is Sunday where you are, but if you want to watch part 2 and you want to get more on Let's All Go to the Trailers, look for part 2 in the description below, or you can check it out on the newest list. If you're sick of us, we'll see you next week.